It's Fantastic Friday. And you know what? I'm feeling fantastic today. I'm super excited to be here. And I got a reason to be. Check this out. Look at this. What? No, over here. Right there. Check that out. Oh, let me show you. Let me do a paka paka. Paka paka. I know it. Here we go. Look at this. That is the Hubble Ultra Deep Space Field. And that is what we are going to be talking about today on Fantastic Friday. Look at that. That is a real photograph. I think everybody should have a picture of a star field like that. But this is a very special star field. Oh, hi. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Mongo pow. My name is Mike Mongo, and this is Mike Mongo's Astronaut Adventures. Thank you for being here today. I am very excited. I am so happy that you are here. You made it. Did you see me buttoning up my sleeve? You know, it's funny because the things we take for granted, like having a mom or a grandmom or a dad or an aunt or an uncle or a friend to help us with little things like buttons, those are things we get to do as grown-ups. So a great time to practice them is right now. This is Fantastic Friday. And you know what that means? Fantastic Friday is the day that you and me get to talk about, you and I get to talk about the most fun, fantastic, far out, freaky, frenetic, far away, foolish, friendly, fun things that we can think of. And today, that is this. That is a photograph on a piece of fabric called the Hubble Ultra Deep Space Field. Hubble telescope took that picture from outer space. I think 15 years ago, if I remember correctly. It's 2020, so I think it was around 1995 that we got the picture of the Hubble Ultra Deep Space Field. And that photograph changed everything we know about everything. Science did that. A spaceship, a telescope in space, a telescope spaceship, a spaceship made for a telescope that's still in space right now. It's called the Hubble, Hubble telescope. And it took that picture and it changed the way we look at everything. And that is what we are going to talk. We are going to talk about the Hubble Deep Space Field. And we're going to talk about the Hubble telescope. And we're going to talk about the importance of having a telescope in space around the planet. My goodness. Are you ready? I guess I should be a little less excited, but I can't help it. This is one of my favorite things in the whole universe because it is the universe. The funny thing, see how big that is? That tapestry, which is a fabric, it's like a carpet that's hanging on my wall that I ordered special just for you, just to show you. So you know about the Hubble Ultra Deep Space Field. That picture, that giant picture with all of those galaxies all over seemingly all over the universe. In the universe, there are thousands of galaxies in that picture. In the Hubble Deep Space Field, you can Google it. Here, I'll write it down. I'm gonna write it down. It's that kind of show. Anybody who's seen this show knows how much I love writing stuff down. And today is no different. My Google. All right, here we go. Let's see where we are on this. Right here, is this where we are? That's what you're looking at? Is that what you're looking at? Great. How about over here? Looking over here? Yeah, how about over here? You looking over here? Awesome. Here's Hubble. Got it? Hubble. Hubble rhymes with bubble. Okay? And so the Hubble Deep Space Ultra Hubble. Ultra. Like Ultron. Ultra. Deep. Space. Ultra deep space. Let's see how that looks. Let me just check out over here. Hubble Deep Space. Let's see if I can scoot out a little bit. Hubble Ultra Deep Space Field. Got to get field in there. Can we do it? I bet we can. Right here. I'll just write it over here. F-I-E-E-L-D. Hubble Ultra Deep Space Field. Hubble Ultra Deep Space Field. It's not just the regular deep space, it's the ultra deep space field. So why would I take all this time to talk about something like one thing, like the Hubble Ultra Deep Space Field? Why would I take all this time to talk about one thing, the Hubble Ultra Deep Space Field? Because the Hubble Ultra Deep Space Field is a photograph that was taken, like I said, I think 15 years ago by a telescope spaceship. We have the human beings, me and you, have a spaceship called the Hubble telescope, excuse me. It's called the Hubble telescope, and it's in space right now. And it took a picture maybe before you were born of the darkest spot in the entire sky. It took a picture of the darkest spot in the entire sky. We could see nothing in this spot. It was completely black, and we took a picture just to see what was there. So if there's nothing there and we took a picture, why would anything show up? That is a fine question. So here's what happened. This is great. So if you take a photograph and you leave the lens open for a long time, all the light will come into the lens and change the picture. It'll collect all the light. It collects the light. So if you take a picture of something bright and leave the lens open, on some cameras we can leave the lens open, If it's bright, you'll just get a big white field. All you'll do is collect white. You will see nothing. But if it's dark, if it's dark, like if you take a picture in your room at night and leave the lens open and just let the camera sit there, like the camera's sitting there right now, like the camera's not moving. And let's say and the lens is open because we're doing a live stream. But let's say you're taking a photograph and not a video. So all the light, you know how like when you go into a dark room, it's just dark and you can't see anything. And then when you're there for a while, your eyes, what we call adjust, and you start to see that it's actually not as dark as you thought it was. Excuse me. I used to love to do that when I was you. At night, when the light went off and I was in bed and I was going to sleep, at first I couldn't see anything, but then I would just lay there in my bed and let my eyes adjust to the room. And then suddenly more light would come into my eyes because our eyes are like lenses. And suddenly I could almost see in the dark, especially when I'm you. When we grown-ups are you, our eyes are better. You can see in the dark so much better than us. You can see in the dark like a cat can see in the dark. Grown-ups, we can't see anything in the dark. Our eyes, we just wear them out, really. We're like, our bodies are like robots. They're like machines. We live inside the machine. And so our body eventually wears out. And so science and technology and medicine has gotten better, and we can replace certain parts. And by the time you're me, there's going to be all kinds of advances. What advances do you want to see in the future? Like remember, did you see Endgame with Thor? Oh, I don't think it was Endgame. No, it was the one before that. What was the one before Endgame? Can you believe I forgot? It was the big fight. And so Thor had his eyeball popped out, if I recall correctly. And no, he lost it when he was battling his sister, if you follow these Marvel movies. And so then Rocket Raccoon gave him a mechanical eyeball to replace his eyeball. And then he had an eyeball that worked even better than his original eyeball. Can you imagine getting an eyeball that works even better? Like, what if we got eyes that let us see as good as cats, as well as cats do? So that would be a good trade-off, right? So when you're younger, your eyes work better than they do when you're me. When you get to be grown up, your eyes will work differently than they do right now. So a camera that is sitting in the dark in the room is just a really good eyeball, and all the light that is there in the machine of a camera can see that light. That was a long way of explaining all that. Well, imagine if we had a camera in space looking into the night, the far away dark of space, because we did that. And it's called the Hubble telescope. Wow. Wait till you hear this. Wait till you hear what we did. See, sometimes grown-ups do really good things, and this is one of them. This is definitely one of them. Check it out. All right, so I'm here to tell you a story about the Hubble Ultra Deep Space Field Telescope. No, the Hubble telescope taking a picture called the Ultra Deep Space Field. The Hubble Ultra Deep Space Field is a photograph. I got to keep reminding myself of that. Will you help me remember that, please? The Hubble Deep Space Field, Ultra Deep Space Field, is a photograph. And it was a photograph that we took by aiming the lens of the camera that was in the telescope in the darkest spot in the entire universe that we could see. So it was the darkest spot that we could see. We couldn't see anything there. That's why it was the darkest. And we aimed this camera on the telescope there. And then we set the telescope to see out as far away as it could. And it just so happens that this amazing telescope, the Hubble telescope, in space, can see 13 billion light years away to the edge of the universe, essentially. Like really far. As far as we know, there's probably a whole bunch more. Oh, I just remembered something. All right, hold that thought. Let me see what I can do here. Is there an adjustment that can be made? I think so. Did I make it? Did it work? Did it work? I hope it did. So we aim the telescope in the dark. We set it to look out as far away as it can. We grown-ups did this. You're going to get to do something as imaginative, as creative as this. I'm giving you permission to do that. And here's what happened. Oh, wow, wait till you hear this. Okay, I got to show you this. This is just kookaluka. Let me find a marker. Okay, right here, I'm going to paka again. Okay, so there's the Hubble Ultra Deep Space Field photograph in the background. Look, right here, this little dot right here, see that? That is about a millimeter. That's about a millimeter. That's like a square millimeter, okay? That spot right there. See how big the pin is? That's 1 millimeter. Now, if we step about a meter away, let's see, 1, 2, 3. This is about a meter away. So you see that little dot? It's right there. You see it? That little dot. I'm a meter away from it. We focused in on that, like I'm going to focus in on it. Here we go. Let's see if I can do it. I thought this thing, oh, there we go. I'm focusing in on it. Got it? So the telescope zooms in on it. That's what it did. Looked at that spot. But in the universe, that to us is that size spot. We looked at that spot for 1 million seconds. We looked at that particular spot for, we looked at that spot for 1 million seconds. So we have a telescope. It's orbiting the planet at 18,000 miles per hour. It's got 6 gyroscopes so that it stays in place even though it's moving. The gyroscopes allow us to focus on one spot that small in the blackest spot of the entire sky. I'm not joking. All of this is 100% true. And then we look at that spot with the lens open, collecting as whatever light would be there with our very special camera for 1 million seconds, 10 days of seconds in the same exact millimeter spot. And we didn't expect to see anything. We didn't know what we would see. In fact, when we did it, many scientists were upset that we were spending our time with this valuable telescope looking at this spot of darkness where there was nothing to be seen, when there's so many amazing things that are nearby that we could be looking at. So there was some controversy, is what called controversy. That means argument. There was discussion. Why are we pointing this $1 billion space telescope at this one little tiny spot in the night sky for 1 million seconds, 10 days of valuable telescope time? This is a true story. This is like around 1995. You may not have even been born. So I get to report to you as a grown-up that this is what happened. This is all 100% true. You're going to get to Google it. I'm putting all of this information in the show notes because I want you to know about the Hubble telescope, because that is what we can spend money on. When we spend money, like that's taxes paid for this. Like this is such the best use of tax money. Almost as good. It's like spending money on schools, because we became so much more educated from just this expenditure. We learned about the science of the universe. So then, after 1 million seconds had passed, we have the image sent back down to Earth. And what we saw astounded us. It was this. It was the ultra deep space field in the blackest spot in the night sky, in a place that we could see nothing. After we looked at it after we left the lens open for 1 million seconds, 10 days of seconds, in the exact same spot, the size of that dot that I just showed you on the wall, 1 millimeter, teeny. This is what we saw. That is a photo that contains thousands of galaxies. There's between 3,000 and 10,000 galaxies in there. In the ultra deep space field photograph, I believe there's 10,000 galaxies. 10,000 galaxies in a spot where we couldn't see any light. But we let a camera with a lens that is so much better than the lens of our eyes look at it for 1 million seconds in the darkest spot of the sky where there is no light to be seen, even with good telescopes. And what we found was that even in the darkest spot, even in the place that we think is empty, there are more galaxies. Now, see all those bright spots? See all these dots? Even the tiny ones, the big ones and the tiny ones? Some of them are medium-sized galaxies. Some of them are small-sized galaxies. Some of them are really big-sized galaxies. Some of them are near and they're brighter, and some of them are farther away and they're even dimmer. And there's stuff beyond that we didn't even see yet. And we took this 15 years ago with technology that was created 10 years before that. So this is a photograph that we took with technology that is 25 years old. Like, imagine what kind of picture we could take now. And inside this photograph with technology that is 25 years old, we found 10,000 galaxies in a millimeter, in a space this small in the night skies. I think it was 126. I gotta look it up. I think I have the information right here. The amount of space. 1/26 millionth of the total sky. This represents 1/26 millionth of the whole sky, and there's 10,000 galaxies in here. Now, here's the thing about a galaxy. Do you remember what a galaxy is? A galaxy is a container of solar systems. Our solar system has one sun and 9 planets. Some solar systems have lots more planets. Some solar systems have no planets, possibly. So in our galaxy, if you remember, our galaxy is called the Milky Way. What's the name of our galaxy? It's the Milky Way. Our galaxy is the Milky Way. Our galaxy, we live in the Milky Way, like the candy bar. Snickers, Milky Way, Milky Way. That's the name of our galaxy. We live in a galaxy. Earth is in a solar system. Our solar system is one of 1 billion solar systems in our galaxy. We have a medium-sized galaxy. Milky Way is a medium size. There's only 1 billion other solar systems with 1 billion other suns. 1 billion. That's 100 million. And in this photo, there's 10,000 galaxies. So that's 10,000 galaxies times each with maybe 1 billion, maybe more, maybe less. Right around there though, because we're medium, so we're the average. 10,000 times 1 billion in a spot that is 1/26 millionth of the entire night sky. Do you know how many? There are more galaxies in the universe than there are grains of sand on the entire planet Earth. Anywhere on the planet, every place, dry sand, wet sand. There's more galaxies in the universe than there are grains of sand on the planet Earth. And in each one of these galaxies are billions of solar systems like ours. This universe could just be full of life. Full of life. We don't know. We're babies. We're babies. We're like baby, fresh born babies. That's how young we are to the universe. This picture, here's an interesting thing. This is so crazy. It could see. There's a galaxy in here that is only 400 million years old. Now, if you remember correctly, the dinosaurs lived 165 million years ago. So we have a galaxy. There's a picture of a galaxy that's only 400 million years old. Now it's funny because the dinosaurs lived 165 million years ago, and we still find their bones because they got buried with volcanoes and just like set in stone, and we get to, stone just sits around. It's not doing anything. So it was a nice, fossils are a great photograph of what the past was like. In the same way that when we get to see, here's why we know that the galaxy that we see in there is 400 billion years old. 400 million years old. Here's why we know that. The universe is 13.8 billion, approximately, give or take a few years, billion years old. That's how old the whole universe is, after what we call the Big Bang, which is just our way of explaining that we don't know what happened, but it happened a certain amount of time ago, okay? So there's a galaxy in here that we have figured out by the quality of light coming from it, that is 400 million years old. Like it's only 400 million years older than when the whole universe came into being, however that happened. We call it the Big Bang, whatever. It's not the important thing to me. It's just like what's important to me is it's so interesting how we figured all this stuff out. Light, what we call light, we don't think of light as particles, but it really is. It's like particles and wavelengths at the same time. Once you start looking into what light is, what makes light, how light exists, what it is, you start to see that it is both particles and wavelengths at the same time. So it's like when we put our telescope out and look 13 billion light years away, well, the universe is 13.8 billion light years away. So we saw a galaxy that gives us idea that its particles are 400 million years old. So we know, like, it's amazing. So it only took 400 million years for this galaxy to form and come together after what we call the Big Bang. Crazy stuff. Listen, don't think that I understand all the stuff that I'm explaining to you. I only know what I learned. And then I learn and I think about it. And I'm like, okay, so maybe how did the Big Bang happen? Like, that's not my major concern. I don't really get hung up on how the Big Bang happened. I just think it's interesting. Do you know that the entire universe nothing moves faster than the speed of light? There isn't, not even nothing. There's no quality in the universe that moves faster than the speed of light. It is the speed limit for the whole universe, 186,000 miles per second. There's only one circumstance where something moved faster than the speed of light, and this is really cool. It was when the universe came into being after the Big Bang. The universe expanded out from faster than the speed of light. The whole universe came into existence faster than the speed of light. The whole universe came into existence faster than the speed of light. It doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. That's why it's so interesting to me. It's just like that, like the meme. That's what people mean by mind blown. That's a mind blower. All of this is mind blowing. This picture of 10,000 other galaxies in a tiny little spot, 1/26 millionth the size of the entire universe, with each one of these with a billion solar systems, 10,000 times a billion, that is 13.4 billion years old, because that's how far we can look away. Look at all this, it's crazy. And see, this is why math is fun. Because all of these numbers just dancing in my head, like they are great. Like that is fun to know about and to be able to talk about. And I hear people argue with me. How do you know this? How do you figure it out? Well, that's the thing, is because of science, we can get the answer. I can give you the answer. We can Google it. I'll put it in the show notes. You're going to get to look at this and study it your whole life. Wow. How cool is all of that? And yeah, I have that on my wall. One of the crowning achievements of humankind, you better believe I do, because you're worth it. You are worth it. I want you to know that we did that. Yeah, we do stupid things all the time. I've done stupid things. You might do stupid things. You may have done stupid things. I'm sure you have. All human beings do stupid things. That's how we learn. Yeah, when we put this Hubble telescope up, we made a mistake. This is all true. We made a mistake, and we had to send up a pair of glasses for the Hubble telescope because it was out of focus when we were taking pictures. And it worked. Catherine Thornton, the astronaut, and my friend Story Musgrave went outside the space station, outside the space shuttle, drove over to the space telescope, the Hubble telescope, in motion, going 5 miles a second, 18,000 miles an hour, and replaced a part of the telescope with a new part that was the size of a refrigerator, which you can move in space with a finger. And it worked. And that's why we got that picture. And that's what, like, if you're going to spend $1 billion, that's worth it. We know so much now. Look how beautiful the universe is. You're part of this. There's this terrific saying that Carl Sagan, he's famous scientist, and he said, we're all made of stars. It's true. All the stuff that makes us who we are comes from stars. All the stuff that makes the planet Earth came from the sun. How cool is that? Where does life come from? I don't know. How cool is that? I mean, wow. What's the most important thing? Love. I know that. I can tell you that. I can tell you the most important thing in the entire universe is love. How cool is that? Love makes the whole thing go around. Do you think that maybe stars have love since everything came from stars? I mean, isn't that possible? What if, do you know what powers the suns? All of these galaxies in this picture are powered by what we call fusion, nuclear fusion. And this is not one sun. This is millions and billions. This could be billions of suns. Billions. This one big splotch right here. This galaxy. I was about to say solar system. These aren't solar systems. These are galaxies. These are containers of solar systems. It's like having a cup that's filled with solar systems. And people ask me, well, why am I so excited about space? Now you understand? There could be so many other cool people over there. There could be so many other cool jerks over there. There could be so many other cool weird things. What if there's people that are made out of rock? What if there's people that are made out of gas? If a rock is smart and has its own language and its own civilization like human beings, does that make it a human being? Do we have to look like us to be human? These are important questions. How do we know that we even come across something that's intelligent if it doesn't look like us? All of these important, there's no limitation. Don't put a limitation on the universe. Don't put a limitation on what is possible. I don't put a limitation on you. One of you in this, you might figure out how gravity works. Like, we don't even understand gravity. We know how it affects us. We don't know how it exists. We don't know why it exists. We know how to produce it. We don't know how to make something that isn't affected by it. Like, people talk about anti-gravity. So instead of anti-gravity, I think about, like, what about a gravity nullifier? What about something that makes gravity not affect us? So gravity exists when we have, it's called mass. So when you have mass or weight or heaviness, a lot of heaviness, like Jupiter has a lot of mass, it's a giant planet. Earth has its own mass. The moon has less mass, so it has less gravity. It's about weight. It's about the weight of the planet. Like, some even big planets are really light because they don't have a lot of mass. You can get a piece of gold the same size as a piece of water, as a piece of oxygen, you can get a piece of gold the same size as an ice. Like, get a piece of gold as the size of an ice cube and get an ice cube. Exact same size. That piece of gold is going to be so much heavier because it's got more mass. So what if one of you figures out how to work all that out into a thing that nullifies gravity, nullifies the effect of mass on other mass, because I have mass, you have mass, and that's why when I jump up, we get pulled back down because the Earth has more mass and it's pulling on my mass, your mass. So what if you figure that out? Like, all of this, there's no limitation, there's no rules. Like, I don't know what life is. I don't know what it is. All I care about is there love? Do you love? Because if it's not love, then what's the point? Is there any better feeling in the world than love? Come on. If you have somebody that loves you, it gives us meaning. It gives us worth. It gives us value. When you love someone, it gives them value. It gives them worth. I love stuff. There's some stuff I really love. I'm like, what do I love? I actually love this little iPhone, iPhone 7 that I have that I use for a piece of, for like Spotify and stuff. I love it. Do I love it? Do I love it like my mom? No. Whatever. I don't care about that compared to my mom. These stars, I love. Do I love them like my mom? Almost. Kind of. Like, I mean, like, I don't know. What if stars are souls? I don't know. Where does the life energy go when we stop, when we die? I don't know. It's not something that bothers me. It's something that fills me with joy. It's so interesting. Because when I'm connecting with you right now, and I've done this before. Me and you have connected before in this show. That connection, to me, that's love. That's the value. That's human to human. And I've had that experience with cats before, with dogs, with even fish, with birds. I know a snake that was really cool. Got it? Like, life has this connection. I bet like some bacteria are really fond of each other. I don't think that you can have life without love. It just doesn't work in my head. Maybe I'm wrong. Can you imagine life without love? Ugh. Like a robot that we, like artificial intelligence or authentic intelligence or mechanical intelligence or whatever we want to call it. Let's say mechanical intelligence. If it doesn't have love, then it's not alive. Come on. Like, you can make a robot that's like a killing machine. Like, crush, kill, destroy. I've seen those robots in the movies and stuff. But what do they love? There was an episode of Futurama. You ever see Futurama? It's kind of a goofy. It's like The Simpsons. Like, that's an old cartoon TV show. Futurama's and there's this planet, and they don't have humans there. They only have robots there. But the robots are people. They got their own civilization. So no fleshy humans are there. Only robot humans are allowed there. And the two humans have to go there and find somebody in the cartoon, and then they go. So they dress as robots and they practice robot moves, and it's very funny. And then they walk up to the gate dressed in their robot costume, and then the two guard robots go, "Halt! Who goes there?" Looking closely at them. "Administer the test." So they give the two humans who are dressed as robots the robot test, and they go, "Which of the following would you most prefer? A puppy. B, a large, properly formatted data file. Or C, a pretty flower for your sweetie." And the two human beings dressed up as robots are like, I don't know. They talk about, like, is the puppy mechanical in any way? They ask the two guard robots. And the guard robot says, "No, it is the bad kind of puppy." And the two humans dressed like robots trying to get into the robot city go, "Oh, we'll go with that properly formatted data file." And the two guard robots go, "Correct. The flower for your sweetie would have also been acceptable." Meaning the robots have love too. Got it? Like, I tell you that whole thing so it gets across this important point. All of this only matters because we matter, because you matter. If I didn't matter, if you didn't matter, why would that matter? And matter is funny because we call the material of the universe as matter. Matter is equal to substance. And when we say something matters, it has worth or value. Isn't that funny that we call the substance of the universe the stuff that has value? See how it all gets connected? And this is why this is why this is on this. This is why I got this to show you. The Hubble Deep Space Telescope showed us what the universe is made out of. And it goes on and on and on. And in each one of those galaxies, there's billions of other solar systems. Each one of these 10,000 galaxies, there's billions of other solar systems. And that means tens and hundreds of billions of other planets. And who knows how many of those have life and what matters to them. Well, I can guarantee you this, for sure, that any planet that has real life and has something that matters has love. We always see these movies where aliens come from another planet and they come here and they just tear stuff up. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Like, we have wars on the planet Earth, but even at the time, even in war, even when we're fighting our brothers and our sisters in the most awful way that we can imagine, we still love one another. It's a strange thing about being a grown-up. People still help one another. In fact, it has been my experience as a grown-up that we become the best people we can be when we're most needed, I've seen people who just argue and disagree with one another until one of them needs help. And then we put that all to the side and we behave like human beings. You ever hear anybody say that? Behave like a human being. Can you all behave like a human being, please? Get it? See how it lands? See how space and being a good person all combine? This is why, like, a lot of astronauts are pretty cool people. This is why. They get it. What's possible? So, what is possible? Good question. Last week I did this little exercise and I showed it to you. And this week I'm going to show it to you again. I want you to practice it. Oh, is it Q&A time already? Come on, that is not 45 minutes. There's no way that would. How did that go so fast? No way. Way. As my friend Bill and Ted said, way. Last week I showed you this really cool thing and I want you to think about it, okay? It's a game to practice concentration. What? What's going on here with this? Better get a piece of paper to practice marking. I'm going to practice marking. Here we go. There we go. And here. And here. Remember I showed you this last week? So funny. Because the things we think of as simple, like we look at the stars every night and we don't think of everything that I just shared with you. Some of us do, and we become who we want to be. So this is a triangle, right? We all got that. Everybody gets it. And I always ask, when you imagine a triangle, where is that happening? Where is that taking place? Where do we imagine the triangle? I wonder if I can bring that in. That looks pretty good. When we imagine a triangle, where are we imagining it? Like I ask students that sometimes, and they point right here. I'm like, well, let's go get a hammer. Let's open that up so I can look inside and find that triangle because I've been looking for it this entire time. Must be in there somewhere, right? So they're pointing in here. But is it really in here? Like when I'm having an idea, is it happening right here? Inside here? Well, if somebody opened my head up, would they find my idea? I don't think so. It takes place in what we call consciousness, where we think. Have you ever thought about that? Where do thoughts happen? So if you think of a triangle, where is that triangle happening? I call that the staging area, the place where we think. There's a staging area. And you can look around in there and you can find stuff. And so this is how people discovered mathematics. The interesting thing about the triangle, this is really interesting to me. I think that one of the things that separates us as human beings from all the other animals is that we can imagine a triangle. I know that I can't think like a bee or a wolf, but I know that wolves don't think of triangles. Like I know that because they don't show it in the way that they live at all. There's no wolf that practices triangles. There isn't. They may go in like a triangle shape. They're not going to know that shape that they go in is this. They don't have that thought. Bees have a really interesting sense of direction. So maybe bees understand geometry, because that's what we think of as the math of shapes is geometry. Maybe bees understand geometry in a way, maybe they have a little tiny bit of brain matter that allows them to appreciate geometry, and that's it. So maybe they wouldn't have language or whatever, but they got geometry. Maybe they just have enough computer memory in their brain to do geometry. Possibly, but I haven't seen any proof of that, except that they're really good with directions. They know where to go, they know where to come back. They do it every day. That's how they go out, they get pollen, they come back, and they make honey, and they grow their family. And they're very defensive. And you know why they're defensive? Because they love their family. So there you go, another example of love. The triangle, I want you to think about. Where does it take place? I showed it to you last week because it is a great tool for practicing concentration. If you haven't done this yet, do this. Draw a triangle in front of you and then see how much you can think about it before you start thinking about something else. And when you think about something else, Like a lot of times when I'm thinking about math and geometry, I will think like, or what people call that, because this is a lot more interesting than what people, a lot of times people don't even, who talk about math and geometry, don't even understand this thing that I'm sharing with you. So sometimes I will think about, for instance, one of the first things I think about is a movie called Pacific Rim. It's about giant robots, and my brain just automatically gravitates toward giant robots. And then I remind myself, okay, I'm not thinking about giant robots right now. I'm thinking about triangles. I'm imagining triangles. Like when I imagine a triangle, I imagine inside where that staging area where I imagine things, I imagine being inside a triangle or a pyramid. Like, I don't know why. I only do it because I can. I want to see what is possible in the place that I think. You know how many grown-ups don't think about this? But why? I know grown-ups that don't even think about their dreams. And that's a third of our life. We sleep a third of our life. So dream life is a big deal. So why wouldn't you think about your dreams? I think about my food. I think about the bed I'm sleeping on. I think about my hygiene. I think about all the other stuff I do in life. Why wouldn't I think about dreams? Come on. So, you ever dream a triangle? My son Raphael has. We talk about dreams. You know that it is said that people don't dream in color? I always dream in color. He does too. His sister Iana doesn't talk about her dreams. She's 6. I think she tells her mom. So, what can you do by thinking about a triangle? You can practice concentration, and that is a superpower. That is a superpower. Just concentrating. See where your brain goes to. Like I think about giant robots. Another thing I think about very regularly, another thought that comes up is chocolate chip cookies. I just happen to like them. It is one of the things I will think about automatically. I love thinking about chocolate chip cookies. Thinking about a chocolate chip cookie is something that leads to me having a chocolate chip cookie. A lot of times I will have a chocolate chip cookie. Look, I'm not even kidding. Look, it's so random. But it's not really. Of course I have chocolate chip cookies. I'm a grown-up. Why wouldn't I have chocolate chip cookies? Being a grown-up is awesome because you get to buy your own chocolate chip cookies. So it's one of the things I think about. The reason I outline this is because I want you to think about, I want you to have this exercise, to do this exercise. Write a triangle, think about it, and see how long you can think about it before you start thinking about something else. When you think about something else, write down what that thing is and just do it. Don't do it for a minute. If you can only do it for a minute, do it for 1 minute. And then if you got to go do something else, do something else. See how long you can do it. Come back to it. Do it again. See how long you can think about a triangle and see. And when you're thinking about a triangle, explore and see what you can make. I can turn a triangle into a pyramid. Look, I can do it on the wall even. Let's see, how do I do that? Look, suddenly I have a pyramid. I turn my triangle into a pyramid. Got it? Can you see it? Yeah. So like this is stuff I can do in my thinking, and I did it by practicing concentrating on simply a triangle, by making a triangle, writing it down in front of me, and then noticing where my brain gravitates to, where my mind, not my brain is that thing in here. My mind is the staging area where all the ideas happen. Wow. Does any other grown-up talk to you about this stuff? Do they? Are they cool? I hope so. These give you powers. My son Raphael knows this. We've been practicing this stuff forever, and oh wow, that's the cool tricks you can do once you start thinking about it. The stuff we can do with what people call math is silly. I don't even know why we call it math. I think we call it math so that people don't look and see what is possible, because holy smokes. Math is how we got the deep space field. Math is how we figured out how far away it is, how many solar systems and galaxies are there. So obviously there's something there, even though if somebody's not explaining it right. If somebody's not explaining something to me, I don't let them stop until I understand. And I give you permission to be that exact same person. This is your life and your world. You got it? You're here for a reason. It's not just some random chance that you're here. You're here for a good reason. And that's why I'm having this conversation with you. I get to be the person who shares that information with you. And maybe there's some other awesome people in your life who share that information with you. And if there isn't, I get to be that person. In the very least, I get to be the person that is as excited about space as you are. And then I get to validate. That means confirm. I get to confirm that there's other people just like you out here. And the world is amazing. And the longer you go, the bigger life you have, the more people you meet who understand how amazing it is and how phenomenal, which means extraordinary, it is that we even exist. You're here. That's phenomenal. I'm here. That's phenomenal. We're here together. Simultaneously, that's as big a magic, miracle, phenomenon, extraordinary thing as I can imagine. I would not be able, if I had to use my imagination, I could not imagine you. You're beyond my imagination. That's how incredible you are. And you know how I know? Because I'm a grown-up and I've been around. I'm 55 years old. I like to remind you, I'm a full grown-up. I'm a full operational grown-up. And so I went out and checked the universe to make sure it is as cool as I thought it was. And it is. So as cool as you think it is, I want you to know it's even cooler. How cool is it? It's so unbelievable that I can't even imagine it. I wouldn't be able to imagine the universe. That's how cool it is. So I want you to go out and explore it and find more about it and do everything that you ever wanted to do. I want you to bring the awesome to the awesome. The universe is awesome, and I want you to bring more awesome to it. Do you accept this mission? Think about a triangle. That's it. That's our show. Oh, you know what? I got a couple more minutes. Can I look and see real quick and see if I got some questions? Because you all send me questions. And those are important to me. Oh. That's it. That's our show. That's it. That's our show. See you later. Except for these questions. Here. Come on over here with me. Pow, pow, pow. Man, there's this guy. Here he is right here. This guy right here. Montalbe Roland. Like, how great a name is that? Montalbe. And I don't know where he is. I think he's in Cameroon, Africa. And he's messaging us about space and astronautics. He sent a bunch of information. He's doing the work. He's asking me to help him be acknowledged for the work that he's doing to get to space from Africa. Have you messaged somebody yet? Have you messaged me and asked me how I can help you, what you need to do? Feel free to. That reminds me. Oh gosh, my friend Palmenta says I'm supposed to tell you this every single time. Yeah, here's how you can feel free. Here's how I have the time and energy and money and everything to here's how this whole thing works. You guys, this is the greatest. All right, let's get this camera right here. Don't forget, this is important. How this whole thing is funded is right here. People, thank you very much for everybody who last week bought me a coffee. That was super cool. I don't know why the shows are getting more popular, but they are. So I think it's because we got this good thing going on. Grown-ups are doing this thing. They go to MikeMongo.com and they click on a button that says, whoops. It says, buy Mike a coffee. I'm Mike, I like coffee, and it allows me to become superpowered and communicate to you that space is awesome. Bye. Nope, not gonna cut it. You know how I am with letters. No runs, no drips, no errors. B, U, Y, A, M, I, K, E, by Mike. By a Mike. There we go. Coffee. Yeah, so if you have a grown up around that's super cool, they can go to MikeMongo.com click on buy Mike a coffee, and you can help fund this whole enterprise. It's getting you to space. That's not the major driver here. The major driver is that you're awesome and you're gonna do something amazing, and all I'm doing is confirming that. You've been waiting for me, here I am. It is my job, it is my chosen profession to remind you how awesome you are and what impact you're gonna have on the entire universe. You got it? Don't forget it. I'll be here Monday. I hope to see you Monday. We got this thing called quarantine. It is space mission training, and this is part of it. You keep up the good work. Thank you for being as incredible as you are. Every single day, you're more incredible to me. And if you're that incredible to me, imagine how many other people you're awesome to. There's so many of us out here. Wait till you see. We've been waiting for you this entire time. All right, keep up the good work. In the words of my people, pow, pow, pow.